carry training.
And of course, we're going to talk about attacks on our God-given right to carry and use firearms. I'm not saying Second Amendment because it's deeper than the Second Amendment.
Yes, be sure to call in, or you can text. The number to the station is 251-343-0106. You can call or text, and we'll be looking for your texts. You can find us on Facebook, Armed Alabama Radio 106.5, and on Twitter is Armed Alabama 106.5. And, of course, you can find us online at armedalabama.com. And also, we have a YouTube channel called Armed Alabama. There's lots of videos there that you can go and watch. The judge does a really good job with that. We also wanted to talk to you real quick about the self-defense class that we're going to have May 9th. And Three Brothers Range has so graciously allowed us to do that. They will be hosting this, and that's on Highway 59 north of I-10 near Stapleton. We will be teaching concealed carry classes, home defense, really nothing like you've ever seen before. Will be very fast, very dynamic. We'll be concentrating on close range, the ranges that you will normally see with a based on statistics, 10 to 12 feet or less. Would be addressing and all the different dynamics associated with an actual self-defense encounter, including Alabama law, castle doctrine, and all the stand your ground laws. If you're interested in the class, please email us, and our email address is thejudge@armedalabama.com or adam@armedalabama.com, or you can call me for more information on the class, and that number is 251-604-3648. So if you're interested in a concealed carry home defense class, be sure to check this out. And that is May 9th, and that's going to be from 9 a.m. Until 4 p.m., 4:30 maybe. It might go a little bit longer, and we've got a lot to cram in that class. Also want to bring to your attention Thursday evening, April 28th, the Friends of the NRA are hosting a dinner at the Battleship Park starting at 5:30. The cost is $35 a person or $60 for a couple. There will be auctions, raffles, firearms, and lots of fun. You can purchase your tickets online at friendsoftheNRA.org. That's at the NRA website. That's friendsoftheNRA.org, and that is Thursday night at the Battleship Park, 5:30.
A couple of things I want to add. First of all, my good friend and the first Republican Chief Justice of Alabama, Perry Hooper Sr., passed away Sunday afternoon. I was one of his lawyers. That's a long time ago to a lot of people, but it took us 10 months for him to get his rightful seat on the Supreme Court. We went through to every court in the nation, including the Supreme Court. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever been through, and he was an incredible man, one of the best clients I've ever had, one of the best people I've ever known, and we're really going to miss him, I tell you that. Just a quality person. And look on my Facebook page, that's Judge Rusty Johnston, and you can read a little more about that. He was actually the person that swore me into office back in 1997. And like I say, it was a fight like – if you don't think they're evil people in this state, what happened was he had won the election by 270 votes. Then their ballots started missing, and then a judge in Montgomery declared that the state should start counting every unwitnessed and unnotarized absentee ballot, which had never been counted in history. And fortunately here, for a federal judge who had iron backbone, Judge Alex Howard, we were able to get into his court, and he said no, because when you change the rules of an election after the election's over, that's violating the U.S. Constitution, and it's violating the rights of every voter that voted in the election. And we ultimately prevailed, although I didn't think we would, quite frankly. But it was a great day when that happened. I've got the poll, Adam, from last week, and we have a new poll up.
Great. Go ahead and share that.
The poll from last week was, which brand of semi-automatic firearms, what's your favorite brand of semi-auto handgun? Now, of course, we couldn't list the hundreds they are. We actually listed the top 8 bestsellers in the U.S. The one that won was Glock, which I kind of figured, which is not the best-selling brand, but it won with 33%. The next it was Sig Sauer. Actually, it was a tie with 33%. Ruger, 8%. That is the largest-selling handgun, a semi-automatic handgun. Beretta had 8%. Kimber had 8%. And Smith & Wesson had also 8%. Now, we have a poll up right now that's a little more controversial. You can't, as you know, you can't use deadly force in order to protect your premises, except if someone is committing or about to commit arson in the first or second degree, because the state figures if you're getting ready to set a house or an apartment building on fire, there could be a lot of deaths. But you can't use deadly force. That shocks a lot of people, but you can't. So our poll this week is, under the law today, as it is today, it's unlawful to use deadly force to protect or defend where you reside, called your premises, except in very specific cases, when you reasonably believe it's necessary to prevent the commission of arson in the first or second degree by a trespasser. Alabama's first Constitution, Constitution of 1918, provides in the preamble, in order to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure for ourselves and our posterity the rights of life, liberty, and property. With that background, do you believe the law should allow you to use deadly force to protect or defend your premises against more threats than just arson? And that's just a simple yes or no. Because I know, first of all, a lot of people don't know that, and they'll learn it in our class. But I know that irks a lot of people when they hear that. So they go to our website, Armed Alabama, and it says poll, and they could vote on that, and we'd urge you to do that because we get kind of a good feeling about what's going on in the community. Now, one topic I want to cover is the Senate Bill 14, which is now in the Alabama House of Representatives.
And this is the bill that allows you to carry your firearm in your car without a concealed carry permit or pistol permit.
Exactly right. And it also has a provision in there that the mere carrying of a handgun openly is not disorderly conduct.
Yeah,
right.
So it goes a step further than the current, really, the AG's opinion as far as open carry.
Now, some people may disagree with this, and that's fine. But if you're for that or want more information, go to armedalabama.com under the tab that says legal. The bill itself is there, as well as the names, addresses, email addresses, physical addresses, telephone numbers of the House Public Safety Committee. And let them know how you think, because historically they have bottled that up in committee and they haven't let it out. And it ought to go out for a vote on the floor of the House. And that's only the right thing to do, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're interested in that, go to our website, check that out, make the phone calls, let the state legislators know what your opinions are, and if you're for it, by all means, make them aware of it. We have so much more to talk about tonight. I think we're going to go to a break here in a little bit, but we want to talk about lots of different things. So come back after the break. This is Armed Alabama with Adam Strange and Judge Rusty Johnson.
If your spine is in a bind, it's time to be aligned. For 20 years, Dr. Justin Foster has been diagnosing and taking care of spinal problems. Misaligned vertebrae can hurt due to a strain or sprain from an accident, or be injured by repeated use and can lead to a pinched nerve if not fixed. Pinched nerves can cause a series of discomforts, including decreased flexibility, headaches, muscle, joint, disc, and nerve pain. Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, easy to find across from Lowe's off Rangeline. Looking for land, commercial space, or a home to purchase? Or do you have real estate that you would like to sell? Then you need to talk with Mamoon Siddiq at RE/MAX Partners, 7221 Grelot Road, Suite B. Mamoon is dedicated to providing his clients trustworthy real estate expertise and professional, dependable service. Whether buying or selling your primary residence or a second home, or relocating to a new neighborhood, Mamoon can help make your home ownership dreams come true. Email Mamoon at remax.net. That's MAMUN at remax.net.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
Now remember, when things look bad and it looks like you're not going to make it, then you got to get mean. I mean plumb mad dog mean. Because if you lose your head and you give up, then you neither live nor win. That's just the way it is.
This is Judge Rusty Johnston for Armed Alabama, along with Adam Strange. Now, don't let us talking prevent you from calling or texting in at 251-343-0106. Call in about any firearms-related matter, about technical matters related to guns, or legal matters related to firearms ownership. One thing I want to mention to you all is the issue that we brought up last week, the illegal arrest of the two South Alabama students for carrying empty holsters. I actually sent a chat message to the University of South Alabama campus police asking them what were they doing in order to track down the person who anonymously sent in a false report reporting men with guns at the Student Center. It marks, I've got a copy here, received, no response, and apparently they're doing nothing. You know, what is the difference between sending in a tip and sending in a threat? When I was in school at the University of Alabama, we had 8 bomb threats one semester. So their program, which is called Live Safe, would be a perfect method to send a bomb threat through if it's truly anonymous. All kind of shenanigans could be done through there. Sending a anonymous text through there saying, I've got a tip for you. There's sarin gas getting ready to be deployed in the basketball arena. Is that a tip or a terroristic threat? I would think it would be a terroristic threat. They can do more than just sitting on their fannies and not doing anything. We had bomb threats at Government Plaza when I was in charge of the court police, and we tracked them down. It's hard to do, it's tough work, but they're not doing anything because it's probably a swatter. And if you don't know what that is, Google it. It's anti-gun activists who will call the police on anyone they suspect has a gun. They will exaggerate, and people have gotten killed as a result of that. And it could very well be that, but it's a problem that they don't seem to be taking seriously, and it's a violation of people's rights when it happens. And if you're the victim, as Adam had someone in his family was a victim of that, it's very frightening, and it's something, yeah, in this case we do blame the police, but most of the time it's not the police's fault. They get a call that says, a man's waving his gun around talking to himself. What are they supposed to do? It's these people that plan this and call those in. I've never reported a crime anonymously. I've reported crimes or tips before. I've always given my name. Adam, what do you have?
Well, you know, it's good that you mentioned that. Especially, you know, this week I think there was some traction in the news media on the number of murders in Mobile. So to have places where you can't carry your firearm within the city limits is kind of unnerving a little bit. If you haven't heard, there's been 15 murders in Mobile city limits already for 2016. You know, that's almost one murder a week.
Well, that's because I'm not on the bench anymore.
And, you know, there was 26 murders or homicides in 2015. So in the last 16 months, 41 individuals have been murdered here in the Mobile city limits. The Mobile police are working hard to try to keep citizens safe. But, this is a very reason why we advocate concealed carry and home defense and to remain vigilant when you're out and about. Mobile is a beautiful city. There's so much to do as far as entertainment and restaurants and everything. And you just hate to hear this kind of thing. But, definitely, not to let those kind of things keep you from going and doing. You just make sure you carry and make sure you're proficient with the firearm that you do carry.
One thing I'll mention before we take a call is that the law does not require the police or the government to protect you. They may say protect and serve on their cars, and that's a fine goal, but legally they have no obligation to protect you or to answer a 911 call. And that's one of the things we teach in our class. And in order to defend yourself, you need to be able to get your gun out, unholstered, and fire, and I'll stretch it. I'll say 5 seconds. And if someone hasn't practiced that in the clothes they normally wear, they're not prepared to defend themselves. If they've got a small firearm, which are great, but if they've got it deeply in their pocket, they can't get it out in 5 seconds. And it's really better in 2. But I'm just stretching it.
You're right. 5 seconds is stretching it. We always talk about 2.5 to 3 seconds, and you have to be aggressive with presentation of a firearm if you feel threatened that lethal force is justified. And of course, when lethal force is justified, lethal force is justified. Absolutely. And you shouldn't hesitate.
Why don't we take this call? A question about a class for his wife. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Hey, John, thank you for being on Armed Alabama. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, I just brought my wife a Luger 38 Special.
You made the first mistake. You bought it for her. That's never good. But go ahead.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I told her don't shoot me. But my question is, where do I send her to learn how to use it? Because she won't listen to me.
First of all, that's a good point. I didn't teach my wife how to shoot. I sent her right over here to Adam to learn how to shoot. She'll be fine in that self-defense level 1 class that we have coming up May 7th. She'll be fine there. Now,
May 7th, and what times are those?
It's 9 to 5. Go to the website, and it'd be best, because it's a limited-size class, to email us or call so we can get your name down and reserve a seat.
Yeah, and the class is very affordable. It's $99 for a class with a $15 range fee. So for the level of instruction that you're getting and what we're going to be able to provide in this, so we've tried to make it as affordable as possible, and we're proud of that, and we're proud of the class, and we're proud that 3 brothers are hosting us.
Okay, and what number do I call to schedule this?
You can email us at the judge at armedalabama.com or Adam at armedalabama.com. But if you want to call and discuss it, you can reach me at 251-604-3648.
064?
0648.
0648. Say that number again, please, sir.
251-604-3648. 3648, excuse me.
Okay.
All right, thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing your wife in the class. We have another call, and next on the line is Gilbert.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
Fine. How about you?
Well, I'm good, and I appreciate the information y'all give out. I got a 2-part question.
Sure.
Somebody breaks in my house proper, the living area.
Okay.
And I shoot them. And number 2, somebody breaks in, or I hear them in my garage, and I go out there, and they're on my property. They're in my garage to steal something, or in my mind, that's what they're there for. And I shoot them in the garage. Both scenarios, what is going to happen to me?
Well, hopefully nothing. Let's talk about your house your castle. When they break in, it is let's just assume for a minute they're not a drunk or someone with Alzheimer's that's, confused. Let's assume it's a burglar. When a burglar comes into your house, the definition of burglary is he is there to commit another felony. That doesn't necessarily have to be stealing. It can be rape. It can be theft. It can be a host of other things. You have the right to use up to and including deadly force in order to defend your house, if you are convinced that that's what he is doing in your house. Now, like I say, if he's drunk or he has an Alzheimer's victim, but if he has a bag of loot with him and he's in your house, you don't have to wait. The standard is you don't have to be convinced that he is about to kill you like you do on the street. You have to be convinced that he is there to commit a burglary, a robbery in your abode. So, we put a lot on people, and I don't know that that's necessarily fair, and it's a reasonable man standard. If you're, let's say, a Gulf War vet and you're just jumpy and you left your front door unlocked and it's somebody that's drunk and just wandered in and you just blow him away when a reasonable man would not do that, then that's another situation. Now, out in your garage, you go out there and find someone stealing in your garage. You don't have the same level that you do in your house. Out there, you're going to have to wait, and hopefully it won't happen, unless you feel like your life is an imminent threat. You can use physical force, but that doesn't mean killing him. But you can use physical force. You can't use physical force to protect, deadly force to protect property. And property means personal property like lawnmowers, bicycles, tools, things you might need to make a living. Mm-hmm. But in your home itself, if it is a burglary and he is in your home, by the way, that used to be the death penalty until 1972, burglary at night of an occupied dwelling. So that's one thing we go over really in depth in our class. And I hate that it sounds so difficult. That's how the legislature made it.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for calling.
And that's Alabama 13A, and you can go online and research that.
You can.
And there's the main provisions, I think, was 23, 24, 25. Is that?
It's called defenses.
Yes.
Right near the start. Yeah. And if my computer was a little quicker, I would call it up. But it downloaded some new program or update today, and it's crawling. Is crawling.
Technology is grand, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. You get used to it, and then that happens. But you can go online and get the code from our legislature.
All right, we'll be back after this break. This is Armed Alabama.
Be a warning when you're running down our country, man. You're walking on the fighting side of me. You're walking on the fighting side of me, running down a way of life. Our fighting men have fought and died to keep.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority, and Dr. Bill Williams.
Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with patchy fog developing. Lows will be in the mid-60s at daybreak. For Wednesday, partly cloudy with a few thunderstorms, highs in the mid-80s. And the outlook for Thursday, a few thunderstorms with afternoon readings in the lower 80s. This is meteorologist Dr. Bill Williams for FM Talk 106.5.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority.
From Fox 10 News, I'm Lenise Lagan from Talk 106.5. Former Spanish Fort High School football player Cameron Harrison has been placed on house arrest once again. Judge Scott Taylor ruled that he violated a condition of his bond by going to the YMCA without being under direct supervision of a parent. Harrison was indicted by a grand jury. Prosecutors say he had sex with a 16-year-old classmate while she was too drunk to consent. A gay rights attorney says a new Mississippi law might violate a federal judge's order that blocks the state from treating same-sex couples different differently from opposite-sex couples who want to marry. Roberta Kaplan says in a letter to Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant that she has serious concerns about how the state will comply with the injunction once a religious objections bill becomes law July 1st. Lastly, Senate Democrat leader Harry Reid says he doesn't think Bernie Sanders has a path to winning the Democratic presidential nomination, but at his weekly news conference, Reid declined to suggest Sanders should cede the ground to Hillary Clinton. From Talk 106.5, Lenny Sagan, Fox 10 News.
When buying a vehicle, don't waste your valuable time. David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota is committed to getting you the best deal on a new, used, or leased car. And David will do that without wasting your time. Don't play the back and forth game. See David Parnell today. Palmer's Toyota, 470 Schillinger Road South. That's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, 639-0800, extension 168. Don't forget to see David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Schillinger Road, just south of Airport. He won't waste your time. Looking for land, commercial space, or a home to purchase? Or do you have real estate that you would like to sell? Then you need to talk with Mamoon Siddiq at RE/MAX Partners, 7221 Grelot Road, Suite B. Mamoon is dedicated to providing his clients trustworthy real estate expertise and professional, dependable service. Whether buying or selling your primary residence or a second home, or relocating to a new neighborhood, Mamoon can help make your home ownership dreams come true. Email Mamoon at remax.net. That's MAMUN at remax.net.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
The 45 long slide with laser sighting.
It's a brand new. We just got them in. That's a good gun. Just touch the trigger, the beam comes on, and you put the red dot where you want the bullet to go. You can't miss. Anything else?
Phased plasma rifle in the 40-watt range.
Hey, just what you see, pal.
The Uzi 9mm.
You know your weapons, buddy. Any one of these is ideal for home defense. So, what shall it be?
All.
Let me close early today. There's a 15-day wait on the handguns, but the rifles you can take right now. You can't do that.
Wrong.
You know, we were talking, Adam, a few weeks ago about home defense rifles. And one item, a rifle I forgot to mention, is what Schwarzenegger just mentioned there, the phased plasma rifle in the 40-watt range.
Yeah, I upgraded mine to 60-watt.
It's a killer, a little expensive, and you got to watch out for leakage of atomic rays. But I understand it lasts forever, and it's really something. So I'm not so sure who sells it, but one place that I know does not sell it is McCoy Outdoors. Now, they're down the street from me on Spring Hill Avenue. And one thing you need to have if you're carrying all the time is a good holster. I've got a box of holsters.
Me too.
Anybody that's ever been in a carrier has a box of holsters. But you need a holster that's a high-rise. I like a retention holster, and that doesn't necessarily mean a Kydex with a button, but it means it's something where if you roll on the ground for a minute, it's going to stay in there, and that you can draw out quickly and easily, and that covers the trigger and the trigger guard, so you won't inadvertently get your finger on the trigger. And they've got a great line of holsters down there at McCoy Outdoors, and it's very important because if you take a self-defense level 2, we'll teach you how to shoot from out of your car. And you need to be wearing, as I say, high-rise. It's a little higher on your belt. So in a car with a seat belt, you can draw your holster, and we'll teach you how to fire, keeping one hand on the steering wheel and your other hand on your handgun, which is a great technique. But they've got a lot of holsters for about every gun you want down there. McCoy Outdoors, as I say, in the K&B Shopping Center, which is on Spring Hill Avenue, just west of I-65, where it crosses over Spring Hill Avenue. They also have a website, McCoyOutdoorCompany.com. You can look on there and do shopping. They have all gun needs, clothing, shoes, everything you'd want for firearms. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Judge.
We have on our YouTube page shooting through glass in a car, which is an interesting demonstration. If you shoot through a windshield glass it will not hit what you think you're shooting at.
No, the round will actually deflect.
That's exactly right. And while you hope you never have to do that, there may be instances where you need to do that. And that's really something that people need to look at before they, ever think about that. Of course, in the right situation, you can use your car as a lethal weapon. If there's, let's make up a situation, a crowd of angry people that think you've done something to them, and they surround your car and start rocking your car, hitting it with baseball bats, and you feel like if another 30 seconds goes by, they're going to pull you out and kill you. There's nothing to prevent you from flooring it, and that's lethal force. It's just like pulling a trigger or just like using a knife. You're using that car to kill someone. But if you feel like your life is in imminent danger of being extinguished, you can use that car as your lethal weapon. And lethal weapon just sounds like the movie. I hate to keep using that. But that can be done. But remember, the problem with a car is you may hit innocent bystanders a little more than using your gun, because it's a real blunt object that you're using. Might be a woman crossing the street with a baby carriage right in front of you. But if, some of these situations like in Baltimore where they had the riots, someone would turn down the wrong street and next thing you know, they were the wrong race and they were surrounded by a crowd and they were being pulled out and beat up. And you don't know what a crowd of people is going to do to you when you get in that kind of situation.
That's right. We have a phone call here. Cheryl, welcome to Armed Alabama.
Hey.
Hey, Cheryl.
Hi, what's your question?
My question is, if I'm small, like 5'2", 110 pounds, how do I physically stop somebody if they're in my garage?
In your garage. Okay. You don't have to stop somebody when they're in your garage. You just say, get out of there. Now, if they come towards you and you consider them an imminent threat of harming you, lethally harming you, imminent threat of your death or serious physical injury, then you can use lethal force. But, the problem is, and I'm not necessarily saying I agree with this, but this is the law, is if they're stealing your property, the law says that you can't use lethal force, deadly force, against them. And so what you do is either say, get out of there, or you just retreat and call the police.
Okay. But if I feel like they're going to hurt me or kill me, I can shoot them? You
can, yeah.
Okay.
You can. And that, let me make up a difference. You're 5'2". Let's say it's usually a guy, he's 6'4", and, you don't know in the night whether he's armed or not, but he's 6'4", and he could rip you apart with his bare hands.
Right.
It doesn't matter whether he's armed or not. He could kill you with his bare hands. So the requirement of him having an arms or not is just dropped. It's that disparity in size takes that place. So him coming at you just in and of itself is enough to create the average person's mind that he's a threat to kill you.
Okay.
But don't go out to the garage. What we recommend, and I know this sounds like the coward's way out, if your house ever gets broken into, we recommend you have a plan and that you retreat into, let's say, the bedroom, and you harden that bedroom door. Put more hinges on the door. Put a solid wood door on there with a deadbolt, and you go in there. You call the police, and you point your gun or your rifle at that door. And if somebody tries to get through there, you're an imminent threat at that point, and that's when you can fire. Now, make sure it's not the police, obviously. But, yeah, you don't know who's in the house. It could be, 6 members of a Mexican meth gang. You're at a real disadvantage. So you take, like Sun Tzu says, take the high ground and you defend it, rather than go outside or go down the hall. You don't know what could be down there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we recommend, and that's really what most people recommend.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you for calling. We appreciate it.
Thank you for your answer.
Yeah.
All right, we've got one more call here. Tom, thank you. Welcome to Armed Alabama.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate what you're doing. Just to comment on what you were talking about, plowing into a large crowd with your car, I would suggest that you make sure that you can get through that crowd and escape, because if they weren't going to pull you out of the car and kill you after you plow into a bunch of them and hurt them or kill them, and you don't make it all the way through them, they sure going to pull you out of the car and hurt you or kill you then.
Well, it depends, too, on what kind of car you're in. If you're in a small Toyota, no. If you're in a big pickup truck, yes. So,
Sir, that's why I don't need a permit for my pickup truck. I have a permit for something else, but I've got a 4-door, 6,000-pound Ford pickup truck that'll get me through a lot of stuff.
There you go.
Thank y'all so much.
There you go.
Thank
you.
All right, thank you, Tom. Judge, you mentioned a while ago talking about your good friend Judge Hooper,
right?
And I've heard you talk about him numerous times, on numerous occasions, and how much respect that you had for him, as he is owed and due. So, as with all great judges like Scalia, who recently passed away, they're instrumental in the things that they provide ruling on. And I just want to talk about something that Chelsea Clinton had said. If you hadn't heard, says that gun control now has a chance without Scalia on the bench. So she was speaking on behalf of her mother, campaigning or whatever, saying that now that Anton Scalia now that Scalia is off the bench, that her mother can push through gun control legislation. So what are your thoughts on that? We discussed several times about the Second Amendment and how the Second Amendment is only there to reiterate the fact that you have that capacity to defend yourself or bear arms, and that comes from British common law. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Bearing arms is an inalienable right. You could not give it away if you wanted to. If it were not there in the Second Amendment or in Alabama's Constitution, it would exist anyway pursuant to the Ninth Amendment, an unenumerated right. You can trace it back to English law, Blackstone. You can trace it back to Roman law. It exists whether it's in the Constitution or not. There's no way to eliminate it. And she can't do that because if the Second Amendment were repealed, it would still exist, like I say, by virtue of the Ninth Amendment, an unenumerated right. One thing she wants to do is to eliminate the Protection of Commerce Act. That means you can't sue a gun manufacturer for someone misusing the product. If they take a gun and slaughter people with, that's not its intended use. A hammer's intended use is nailing nails, not murdering a wonderful citizen of this county, which happened several years ago. But mark my words, if that's ever repealed, the gun industry will go out of business in this country, and what we'll have is only have access to perhaps foreign guns, and like we need to lose any more industry to foreigners. But that's what they'll try to do unless we stop her. But I don't think that'll ever happen. And as I said, Second Amendment or not is irrelevant. The right to keep and bear arms is the right to defend yourself, number one, is the first right. Blackstone list is a fundamental right of all Englishmen, which we inherited. And the right to use arms in your defense, I think, is the ninth fundamental right. And we have it whether Hillary thinks we do or not.
Right. That's a good point. Firearm manufacturers are under attack, and if they go after firearm manufacturers, they go after ammunition manufacturers to try to find some way. Okay, if you got guns, it doesn't make any difference if you didn't have ammunition for the firearm.
Right.
Sorry, we'll be back after this break. Stay tuned for the rest of Armed Alabama.
If your spine is in a bind, it's time to be aligned. For 20 years, Dr. Justin Foster has been diagnosing and taking care of spinal problems. Misaligned vertebrae can hurt due to a strain or sprain from an accident, or be injured by repeated use and can lead to a pinched nerve if not fixed. Pinched nerves can cause a series of discomforts, including decreased flexibility, headaches, muscle, joint, disc, and nerve pain. Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, easy to find across from Lowe's off Rangeline. Longleaf pine is the South's original pine tree, towering over all others. Vast clear-cutting logging operations in the first half of the last century destroyed these beautiful longleaf forests, some well over 100 years old. Their wood sent to New England, New York, and Europe. Many Southerners have no memory of the magnificent longleaf forests that covered the South. The America's Longleaf Restoration Initiative is a concerted effort to restore and conserve longleaf pine forests. The best part is, it's working. For more info, visit americaslongleaf.org. When buying a vehicle, don't waste your valuable time. David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota is committed to getting you the best deal on a new, used, or leased car. And David will do that without wasting your time. Don't play the back and forth game. See David Parnell today. Palmer's Toyota, 470 Schillinger Road South. That's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, 639-0800, extension 168. Don't forget to see David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Schillinger Road, just south of Airport. He won't waste your time.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
How you boys put those guns down?
Say what?
Well, we're not just gonna let you walk out of here.
Who's we, sucker?
Smith and Wesson and me.
All right, welcome back for the final segment of Armed Alabama. This is probably the fastest hour in radio right here. So glad you can join us and glad you stuck with us for the show. We really appreciate it. The judge and I, if you can't tell, we are having a ball in here and we're enjoying the discussions. We want to talk about real quick, talk about our different advertisers and sponsors we have. Make sure when you're out and about and you need different services that you try to patron our advertisers, and that's, of course, McCoy Outdoors, Mamoon Civic or Remax Realtors, Dr. Justin Foster of Foster Chiropractic in Tillman's Corner, and David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota on Schillingers Road. But if you would like to advertise on Armed Alabama, please contact us or contact the station. We'll be glad to have you on the radio here. Just a reminder again about the firearms class, May 9th, and that'll be at Three Brothers Range. You'll need your firearm and probably 150 to 200 rounds. And be ready to have a good time. That's going to start at 9 o'clock.
And Adam, that's May 7th.
Is it May 7th or May 9th?
It's Saturday, May 7th.
Okay, thank you.
May 9th is, I think, a Monday.
Yeah, well, thank you for the correction. May 9th.
7th.
Excuse me, May 7th will be the class. And we're looking forward to that. And it'll be very, very informative. And you'll know exactly what your rights are, exactly what the law is.
You go to the website, it explains the
in
syllabus.
Detail. Yeah. It'll explain the class in detail. If you have any more questions, email us at Adam at Armed Alabama or the judge at Armed Alabama. Of course, check us out on Facebook, Armed Alabama Radio, FM 106.5, and on Twitter, Armed Alabama 106.5. And again, the judge does a really good job with our YouTube channel. So go on and check out our videos. And we have a great website that's maintained by the judge's son, Sidney, and that is www.armedalabama.com. That website is getting better and better.
Don't have to put that www in. I insisted on that, yeah.
Adam,
let me mention, if you want to know when you can use force to defend yourself or your premises when you're in it, Google Code of Alabama is section 13A-3-23. And I might mention to the question, I'm not sure I mentioned it to the caller, when somebody's broken into your house, you've got to be in fear that they're going to use force against you. Not deadly force, just force. So they've broken into your house, they've committed a felony. If you're concerned they're going to use force, you can use deadly force against them, or it listed all there, or if you're concerned that they're going to commit a kidnapping in any degree, an assault, etc., read it there, or we'll explain it better to you in the class, which we spend, 3 hours probably on the law, which we need to. We're going to...
Real quickly, we're going to go to one more phone call. Mike, welcome to Armed Alabama. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for everything, guys.
Sure.
I'm more of a long gun guy, so I need y'all's help on some of the handgun issues. Both of them relate to Alabama's law. The first one is if I legally buy a handgun, but I don't have a concealed carry license for it, I don't know for sure how can I conceal it in my personal vehicle legally.
You have to unload it. It has to be in a locked box, out of your reach. No ammunition in it. If you have a car with a trunk, that's easy. Put it in the car with the trunk unloaded with no ammunition back there. That's the only way you can carry it in a car. But you can carry it openly without a permit. Yeah.
Right.
The car's the problem.
Right. On our permit, I'm not 100% sure how Alabama's permit works. If I have a Kimber, a Glock, and a Buckmark, all three different.
It's not gun specific, if that's your question. Not gun specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm licensing myself.
Correct.
I can go and buy the license. I can buy 100 handguns, assuming that I can legally purchase them.
Whatever you're carrying is what you're the one who has the license. Right.
Right. Okay.
And the good thing about the license, the reason to buy the license is because it's good in 38 states or whatever the number is. Yeah. That's the best part about it.
Right. But I was a little bit confused about how many I needed for each handgun. Okay, I see it. The user has the license.
You got it. Right. To carry the firearm on your person's. And the good thing about that, we will have, next week, we'll have Adam Bourne on our radio show, and that is exactly the person.
From the Pistol Permit Division at the Sheriff's Department.
That is exactly the person to come on and talk in detail about pistol permits, how to get it, what's involved, and kind of the workings of the office there, because the judge, you stated several times that, is probably one of the best working offices here in Mobile, $20 in 20 minutes or so, and you have a concealed carry permit.
Right.
Guys, well, listen, y'all do a great job, and I'll have to make a point to listen next week. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Mike.
All right.
And remember, you can listen to our archives at armedalabama.com and on the YouTube channel. You can listen to all the past shows if you just join us. And we get a few more advertisers, one or two more. We're going to 2 hours. That will be in June. And there's no reason not to go to 2 hours because we really need it. I know a lot of you listen and don't call. That's how this works in this industry because I do another radio show like this in Springfield, Missouri, Saturday mornings, if you ever want to listen to that.
Go ahead and give them the station on that Saturday morning.
KSGF and www.ksgf.com, The Gun Show. And you can just Google The Gun Show, Springfield, Missouri. You'll find it there. Gets us up a little early, but it's 7 to 9 on Saturday morning, and we're talking kind of about the same things. And Adam's been on it before, and so gave us the idea for this. It's the most popular weekend show in that Springfield, Missouri media market, which is a little smaller than Mobile's, about 200,000. I think Mobile's is actually about, they're about 250. Mobile's is about 4.25, I think. But the best part about this is people interested in guns but don't want to ask that question. Everybody thinks the question's stupid. It's not stupid. There are no stupid questions out there. There's so many different guns, so many different laws, where you can carry and where you can't. And by the way, I might mention, you see these signs up all over the place, no guns and all. Those have no legal effect in this state. If you have a permit and you have it concealed or not, it doesn't matter. Those have no legal effect. The code lists places where you can and cannot carry, and you should get familiar with those. A courthouse, a corrections facility, a mental hospital, there are a number of them. But it doesn't say anything about places that are posted like certain states do. Now, if you go to another state with your permit, with a reciprocity agreement, you need to make sure you know the laws of that state. Handgunlaws.us is the best place to know the laws. But in Alabama, these signs are a fraud and don't mean anything. I don't care whether some sheriff has put his name on them. And in fact, I think he's in danger of a good 1983 lawsuit. If any of you have been intimidated or arrested by someone pursuant to one of those signs, send us an email because that's outrageous. The signs mean something in some states, not here. They have no authority of law. If you've got a handgun, you can carry it openly or concealed. It doesn't matter. Adam, you have anything to add before we close?
No, I mean, we had this discussion some time back where the signs were posted at rest areas of all places. You know, you're traveling out with your family from one destination to the next or what have you.
And that was the governor and their high crime areas, rest areas.
Yeah, and so that's definitely the time that you're carrying your firearm and definitely want to be vigilant and look out and protect your family. So to get out of your car and walk up to a rest area and see a no firearm sign is kind of ridiculous.
Right. And you know, I don't wish the governor any ill will, but when I saw what kind of advice he was getting
he got caught with his hands in a mason jar, so you know he's in trouble already.
Well, that's right. It's just really amazing, but it's making interesting news these days. You got to admit that. Really interesting news. Now, next week we'll have Adam Bourne on from the Sheriff's Pistol Permit Division. And any question you have about pistol permits and licensing and appeals from that, get them ready for next week. And as usual, we'll try to answer any questions firearm related or where you can and can't carry, anything related to firearms. We'll try to answer it for you.
Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up is the appeals process.
Right.
Be sure to tune in next week to the judge and myself at Armed Alabama.
Keep carrying.
We don't burn our trap cards down on Main Street, 'cause we like living right and being free.
Longleaf pine is the South's original pine tree, towering over all others. Vast clear-cutting logging operations in the first half of the last century destroyed these beautiful longleaf forests, some well over 100 years old. Their wood sent to New England, New York, and Europe. Many Southerners have no memory of the magnificent longleaf forests that covered the South. The America's Longleaf Restoration Initiative is a concerted effort to restore and conserve longleaf pine forests. The best part is, it's working. For more info, visit americaslongleaf.org.
Could you defend yourself, your family, your home against an assailant? How about your constitutional rights? What does the law say? How do you choose the right firearm and ammo? And women, how can you protect yourself? All of this and more is available Tuesday evening at 7 with Armed Alabama, a new interactive show hosted by retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange. News, personal defense, product reviews, and more. Armed Alabama, Tuesday evenings at 7 on FM Talk 106.5.